Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Vedant here. So in today's video, I am about to share you the secret strategy I used on Pinterest ad to scale my stores to more than 6 figures per month. Back in the days, I had some very good success with dropshipping. I pushed some of my stores to more than 6 figures per month before selling them. As you guys know, I had the chance to work with some of the biggest e-commerce influencers on earth. I was also a head coach in the e-commerce mentoring program for Ecom King. And you know, back in the days, people used to pay me for the information I am about to give you today. So the blueprint I am about to share with you today is actually one of the blueprints I used to teach when I was coach in the e-commerce mentoring program. However, here I will give it for you for free. I'm not teaching e-com anymore. Now I'm running my agencies, but I want to help you guys because I wish that someone could help me when I started my journey. And to be honest, I know some gurus charging more than $2,000 to teach you the information I'm about to give you today. So please guys, take some notes and please implement because this is gonna be insane. Alright guys, I will let you watch the video and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I see you on the next one. Bye. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is you want to create your Pinterest ad account. So it's a pretty straightforward process. You just need to create your account. I'm about to do it here. Here you go. So it's a pretty straightforward process. You just need to put some details about, your account and yourself. So pretty easy. So once your account is created, the first thing you want to do is you want to click here on the top right corner and you want to convert your personal account into a business account. Here you go. As you can see, if you convert it to a business account, you will get access to the ads manager. And this is exactly what you need to actually set up our ads. So let's go. And the first thing you need to do is you need to switch your profile and put your details. So profile name, website, the country and the language as well. Next thing you want to do, and this is quite important, you want to make sure that you select the right category for your brand and select your goals. Actually here, as we are an e-com store, we just want to sell more product, drive traffic to the website, and we also want to create content on Pinterest to grow an audience, right? Here you can select that you're an online retail or marketplace and you want to integrate your Pinterest account with your Shopify account. So you can click here, go next, and yes, I'm interested in advertising. Here you quickly have to put your contact details and phone number, of course. And here you go. Now you want to integrate your Pinterest ad account with Shopify. So you can actually select this option, import your product from Shopify, and then you just want to click on add the application. Then here you go. You just want to connect your Pinterest account to set up the integration and you want to give access. And then once you're done, you just have to click on continue and on next until you reach a screen asking you to integrate the Pinterest pixel, and then it should be done. Now I'm about to show you how you can also integrate the Pinterest pixel in a manual way, just in case the normal and native integration doesn't work out. So if you want to install your pixel manually, you first have to create one. So you just go back into Pinterest ads, you click here on ads, go under the conversion tab, and here you will have the tag manager. You just have to click on get started. Now you just have to actually insert your website link, click on check, then you have to click on manual setup, and here you go, you have the tag that you actually need to copy from here. Then on the third step, you can just leave this automatic enhance match enabled and you can click on continue. And now you just have to follow these steps. So now let's go under the Shopify admin and let's click on online store themes. And now we have to click here on action, edit code. Let's go in the file called theme.liquid. Here you go. And as you can see here, just after the head section, we'll have to paste this code. So let's go for it. I'll actually do Control F to search for it. Here you go. So as you can see, you have the first head here, and if you scroll down until the end, you will see the second head section, which is just here, right? And now you can just hit enter to go to the next line, and then basically you just hit enter once again, you paste your code, and you're done. Okay, so now the tag is installed on the main theme. Let's save it. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to actually add the add to cart event, which means that whenever someone will add the product to the cart, Pinterest pixel will be able to just collect the data. So this is quite important as well. Let's go this time in the product.liquid file, and we just have to copy this piece of code here and put it within the ending caret of the button or input element. So as you can see here, my button code is starting just right here. And if I just scroll to the right, I will actually go for the ending bracket. I'm looking for the ending bracket here. And here you go. You can, of course, use the search functionality here. You see, it's just right here. I can see that it's ending because the bracket is opening. We have a slash closing the code. So I just hit space and paste my piece of code that I needed to add here. And we are done. Okay, so now my add to cart event is manually installed as well. And the next thing we want to do is we just want to add the checkout event, which is way easier. So to add the checkout event manually, you just have to go under settings and then go under checkout. So let's do it together. Let's go under settings here. Let's go under checkout, just right here. And here you go. You just have to copy this thing here, this small portion of code. Just want to go under your checkout settings. You want to scroll down until you have the additional scripts here. So what you need to do is you just need to paste it under your script if you have one. If you don't have any of these, you can just actually copy and paste the whole code here, and that's it. So just to check if everything is smoothly installed, I recommend you to add Pinterest Tag Helper as a Chrome extension, so you can actually go to your store. It's actually the same thing as the Facebook Pixel Helper, and it will allow you to actually make sure the pixel is installed in the right way. So just for the sake of the exercise, I actually installed this to one of my other store, and as you can see here, Pinterest Tag Helper is quite happy. As you can see, there is no issue or warning found, which is quite good, which means that it's working perfectly fine. Now let's go to the next step. So before setting up the campaigns, the first thing we want to do is you want to make sure that our billing details are properly integrated as well. So you just go here under billing and you will have to add all your business details, your VAT information if you are actually registered with the VAT, and you also want to of course insert all the payment settings here. So you just set up your billing details right here, and then you also want to create some audiences because it's quite important. So as you're getting some traffic, it will kind of like populate your audience straight away, even if you're not running ads yet. So let's assume you're getting some traffic coming from Google ads, Facebook ads, or TikTok ads, or whatever. As you have the pixel installed now, you can start collecting data, which should be quite useful to create some lookalikes. So let's go here and click on create audience, and as you can see, you can actually create some audience based on the website visitors. It will take up to 24 hours to actually populate, so it's quite important to do it straight away. So let's do it. Let's create an audience called website visitors, and then we just want to add some filters. So we'll say, let's say 30 days. So I'll call my audience website visitors 30 days, which means that everyone visiting my website during the time frame of 30 days will actually be integrated to this audience. Okay, so now you can just select your tag here, so your pixel basically, and here you go, boom, create your audience. Okay, you can also create some other audience like engagement audience, which are quite powerful for retargeting. So let's say anyone who actually engage with your profile might enter this audience. Okay, so for instance, let's say anyone who actually engage with any of your pin or your profile or whatever, you actually want to put those people in a specific category, you can do it here. So let's call this audience any engagement action 30 days. Okay, and just for a reminder here, I'll describe my audience anyone who have been engaged with any of my Pinterest content. Right now, basically you can just select a filter here if you want to. I don't do it, so I basically just create my audience, and here you go. As you can see, it's initializing here. One last thing we can do is if you already have like a customer list coming from your store, let's say you already have some orders. Okay, what you can do is you can actually go under the customer tab here. You can export a CSV with all your orders. Okay, you can export it and import it back here, and then you can basically just retarget those people. So let's assume you have like a multi-product store. Like in this case, we have multiple t-shirts on our store. If I just want to display some other product to my customers, I can do it here. I just have to upload file here and I'll be able to target them. Right. So just to let you know, as we are in the audience setting, if you want to create some lookalike audience, it's also here that you'll be able to do it. I don't recommend doing some lookalikes unless you already have like 1,000 plus people in your audience. Otherwise, your data will not be accurate enough. Okay. So we'll go back to lookalikes after, but just so you know, it's actually just right here. Okay, now next step, let's go to the current settings. So to actually set up your current view and your performance stats, you just have to click here, and as you can see, you can tick up to 5 performance stats you want to follow on your campaigns. As we're doing paid ad and as we're actually running ads for an e-commerce store, I strongly recommend you to actually tick the ROAS, the paid CTR. So you will have to untick few things here because you can only pick up to 5 options. So I will go with spend, I will go with order value, checkout, ROAS, paid CTR. Right, so those are the 5 one I recommend using. So spend, order value, checkout, ROAS, paid CTR. Okay, so now let's create our campaigns. So you just have to go here under create and create ad, and as you can see, it's very similar to Facebook ads. So as in Facebook, you have 3 levels when you set up a campaign. You have the campaign level, the ad group level, which is obviously the ad set level, and then you have the ad level. And as you can see here, you can also choose between different objectives. So awareness, consideration, and conversion. Of course, here we want to optimize for conversion. There you go. So when you click on conversion, it might ask you that you actually need to set up conversion data. If so, you just have to click here. So the main thing you want to do is you just want to actually go to your store and fire all the events so you can actually access to the conversion events in the ads manager. So now let's go back to the campaign creation. the first thing I want to do here is I want to go for a conversion campaign, and this one will be a testing campaign. So you just need to copy and paste my structure, as we tested this on multiple stores and it has been working all the time. So the naming convention is also very important to stay organized. So I recommend you to actually insert your product name here. So product name, testing campaign number 1. Okay. And as you can see here, you can actually set up your budget. So I recommend you to use a daily budget. We need at least 50 per day to actually make sure that the campaign will perform. So $50 or USD or GBP is fine. Now, as with Facebook, you don't want to run your campaign straight away, otherwise it might rush the budget. That's why you always want to start your campaign on the next day at midnight, based on your ad account time zone. So here we go. Now we can hit on continue. So these were the campaign settings. Now we are about to go under the ad group, meaning the ad settings. Okay, so as you can see here, we will leave it blank for now. We will leave the ad group name blank for now because we will actually change the name according to our targeting settings. Okay, and as you can see here, you can actually use retargeting audiences, or you can find new customers, or you can also, you can actually make your own targeting selection for this ad. We will actually go here with choose yours, which is a third option, and we'll start with interest and keywords, especially with interest. Okay, so as you can see, you have some interest here. It's very similar to what you can find in TikTok ads or Facebook ads as well. And here you have 3 levels of interest. So you have the main category. Let's say we open beauty. You have the second level, which is the subcategory. And then if you want to be very, very specific, you have the third option. And sometimes you also have the fourth one. But most of the time you have like 4 levels. So level 1, which is the main category, okay, of interest. Then you have the subcategory, level 2, and then the third one. And as we don't have that much data right now, we need to actually consolidate our data and get some data on our tag and pixel. We will actually work with the main categories for now, okay? So the first ad group will actually be an ad group where we will target the main categories related to our product. So let's say here, I'm actually promoting a fitness t-shirt. I would go for any kind of clothing, apparel, and fitness related interest. So I will actually go under health here, and I will just select the whole health category. Then I will also go in main fashion. Boom, I will consolidate, and I will actually pick a third interest, which will be related to my product. I will actually go with sport here. Okay, so here we go. We have our 3 interests. Here I will just go back to the ad group name and call it stacked interest 1. So this is my first ad set, my first ad. Now, what you can do is you can actually narrow down the demographic, which is quite important. So if you have like a specific product that will match, let's say, women or men only, you can actually untick the one that you are not willing to target. Here in this situation, I'm about to target both of them. And you can also select the age range here. Here, I will leave it blank as my product is kind of like mainstream. Now, let's talk about the location. The best performing countries really depend on your product. But if you want to actually get some data really fast, I would recommend you to actually go for the US, the Canada, and the Australia first. So let's go. Let me select US, UK, and Canada. Here we go. So we have our top 3 countries. And as you can see here, the audience is wide. So it's really recommended to actually make sure we stay in the middle range when we create an audience. Otherwise, the data might be all over the place. So here, just to narrow it down, what I will do is I will just select the English language. Obviously, those countries are English-speaking countries, but we can still actually exclude the French-speaking people from Canada. And then you can choose any specific age range. And here, what I will do is I will actually remove everyone that is above 55. And you just want to make sure that the expanded targeting option is unticked. So you just want to unselect this to make sure that your targeting stays accurate. So now, as you can see, it's way better. And we can actually just scroll down, we found the conversion event. So for the conversion event, you always want to go for what we call final payment, or depending on your ad account, it might also say checkout. So checkout is actually the same thing as purchase. So you don't want to optimize for add to cart or for lead website clicks or whatever. You really want to go with checkout or final payment, okay, depending on your ad account, okay. Now the bidding strategy will stay automated. So this is pretty straightforward. And now it's time to create the ad. So what we'll do here is we'll actually create a fresh new pin. So just click on create a new pin. So if you want to get some inspiration about some ads, what you can do is you can actually just go on Pinterest and search for ad examples, or I will actually post a Pinterest dashboard in the cheat sheet so you can actually get a lot of inspiration here. And as you can see, there is multiple things, but most of the time static image works pretty well. So this is really what I recommend. And as you can see, the text zone is like very, very light, or when they are actually using text, they just make sure that the text really stands out. So let's go and let's create our ad. So I would actually just go on Canva to create my image here. So you already have the Pinterest ad format, which is pre-made, pre-built here. So here I'm using a template, just drag and drop everything, make sure it looks good and the text is actually taking some space. Here we go with my creative. I'm going to download it on my computer, and here you go. Let's create it so it looks good. So you can always edit the the pin here if you need to. I don't recommend editing here because the functionalities are quite limited, so it's better to edit it in Canva. Let's call it ad 1 because this is the first variation, and now we actually need to create ad copy. So for the ad copy inspiration, I always take a look at my best performing Facebook ads, or you can also use a website called copy.ai to get some inspiration if you want to. Here I have my ad copy prepared. So it's quite important to actually make it look kind of like organic. So try to avoid emojis, try to avoid a lot of promotion. And the thing is, you really want to make sure that the first 2 lines of your ad copy, of your description here, are really, really attracting people, because obviously this is what will be displayed. So on Pinterest ad, the number of characters that are displayed in your ad are quite limited. So it's very important to split test those, because you will see a huge difference. Okay, so for now, let's keep it as it is. So treat your couple with the best gift ever. Meet our duo t-shirt bundle. You can take shortcut to fitness, but you can make it easier. Get yours today at a discounted price. That's it. Okay, so that's my first pin here. I'm going to publish it. And now that you're done with your first ad set, you can duplicate your ad set and go to the second one. So you can duplicate it a second time. And here we are going to create a second ad set called stacked interest number 2. Okay, so here you're about to leave everything the same. The only thing you want to target is basically the interests you selected. So you want to go for some other interest. Okay, so let's find some other interest. In here I will actually go for motivation, which is my keyword, because I want to find people that need some motivation and are getting inspired by quotes, and I would just go for quotes here, for instance. So this will be my first one. Okay, and now let's select some other one which will be related to our product. So this time I'll go for women fashion. The third one I will go for travel. So it's not related to the product, but travel matches lifestyle, so this one can work as well. Remember, the main point here is actually to collect some data, so it's very important to be broad enough so you can actually start getting some data in your audiences and your pixel as well to start leveraging lookalikes. And now let's go for the third one. So the third one is quite different, because now this time we don't want to work with interest, we want to work with keywords. Okay, so let's call it keywords. Okay, so 10 keywords actually. So now what we are going to do is we're going to remove all the interest we targeted previously. So let's go back here and select every single interest here, and let's go for keywords. So you're going to go here in keywords, and you need to find some keywords. So you might ask, how can I find some keywords? Really easy. You just have to go back to the main homepage of Pinterest, and you just want to go here. You want to go under your profile. You have the search tab here. You want to select all pins, and you want to type some main keywords related to your niche or your product. So now here, for instance, I will type fitness, and as you can see, fitness aesthetic is the first suggestion. So I will actually take this one. Okay, and fitness code is the second one. Then we have fitness and exercise. So let's start with this one. Okay, so let's go back here. Fitness aesthetics, and then the third one was, let's say, fitness training here. Okay, I also want to go for couple, because here this is my angle. Okay, so couple goals and things like that. So let's go for couple goals, for instance, couple goals captions. So those are the two I can actually use. So couple goals captions. You actually want to add up to 10 keywords. Okay, you want to make sure that you are either in the mid-range, or you can go a bit wider for the first one. And now let's go fitness fashion, for instance. Okay, fitness fashion outfits. Okay, fitness fashion outfits. So fitness, and then you can also actually go for active wear, which is a strong one. Active wear outfits, active wear. You can also go for gym, as it's related to fitness here. So gym outfits and gym aesthetics. So aesthetics, and then let's go back to motivation. Like couple motivation might be a good one. Couple motivation quotes. Okay, so quotes. And now let's get rid of one, because I have 11 of them, and I will actually remove, as it's quite the same, I will actually go for active wear. Okay, so as you can see, you have different format for your keywords. So you have what we call the broad match, the exact match, and you can also exclude some exact match, for instance. Okay, so this is quite similar to Google Ads. So my colleague George we'll certainly cover this, but just to let you know, for now, we just want to go as broad as we can. Okay, as you can see here, I'm a bit too narrowed. So what I will do is I will just enlarge some targeting options here to make sure that I have enough people in my audience. Okay, so here you go, all ages, for instance. We should make it bigger, and then for the countries here, I want to add some more countries. Okay, so I can add Canada, for instance. Here you go. Here you go. So now let's go back here. As you can see, everything is the same. So perfect. And very important thing, for your first campaign, you really want to go ahead with the automatic bidding strategy. Okay, you don't want to go for custom. This is something we'll cover in the scaling phase. Okay, so basically, as you can see here, we have 3 ad sets. Okay, so the first one is tagged interest number 1, the second one is tagged interest number 2, and the third one is 10 keywords. And now you can publish your campaign. Okay, so now let's go back to the ads manager. Now that you have published your first campaign, as you can see, you have access to the full dashboard here. So you have the campaign tab, ad group, ads, and keywords. So it's very similar to Facebook ads. And the good thing is now you can actually just change your current settings. So you just have to click here, okay? And you just want to actually make sure that you actually display your add to cart here. So you can select add to cart here, everything related to add to cart, so it will consolidate. So you want to make sure that you display your expenses, your CPC, your CTR, your CPM, your total CPA, and the number of prints, which means the number of impressions, and also the results. Okay, so here you go, you can actually select those and you can save your current settings. Now let's see how we can actually analyze a campaign. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that within your campaign, you always select your campaign and you just want to go take a look at the ad group level. Okay, so here you go, you just select your campaign. So as you can see here, I have different ad sets. Okay, and here now the goal would be to actually understand which one of those is bringing me the best results. And as you can see here, you always have to make a choice between the volume you had, but also between the CPA you have. So for instance, let's say here I have a CPA of 147, which means that it's costing me only 1.47 to get one conversion. But as you can see, as the audience size is quite limited here, I'm only getting 36 purchases. So it might not be the best choice. However, here, as you can see, I'm paying $6.49 per purchase. Okay, so let's assume this is my stack interest number 1. It's costing me $6.49 per purchase, and I'm getting 154 purchase, which means that it's quite good and I can scale it like really, really hard. Okay, so now what I will do is I will basically turn everything off and keep the one that's winning on in my main campaign. And now I'll teach you how you can actually create a scaling campaign. Okay, so before we actually go under the ads manager, let me explain you how we're going to scale our campaign. So it's pretty simple. What you want to do is you just want to actually select your best ad group, and instead of using the automated bidding strategies, you want to go for what we call TCPA, so target cost per action. So it's pretty simple. As we know what our cost per action is, okay, so we know it's roughly €8, okay. We just want to tell to Pinterest that we can afford €8 as a minimum to get one conversion, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate our best performing ad set and change the target cost per action in each one of the ad sets. So basically the structure is 5 ad sets. So everything is the same. We only change the cost per action. On the first one, it will be 8, so my main value. And then on each other ad set, on every other ad set, I will just increase the value by 1. So it will be 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so let's do it together. So just as a reminder, my best performing ad set is this one, as you can see. So roughly $6.49 per purchase, but still, as we have an average of $7.35, my main value would be 8. Okay, and we have a decent amount of orders. So I'm about to duplicate this one. So you just have to select it here. You click on duplicate, and here you go. You just want to create a new campaign, and you will call it. You will just create one copy. For now, you duplicate it, and let's rename the campaign. We're going to call it CBO Scaling 5x TCPA. Okay, so let's go here, and the budget will actually be, you can put whatever you want, but I recommend 50 as a minimum, and you just want to start running it from the next day, midnight. So always select the next day at midnight. Okay, here you go. Now let's click on continue. Now it's pretty easy because the only thing that you're going to change, you want to keep everything the same. The only thing you want to change is you want to go to scroll down until you find the bidding strategy, and you want to change it from automatic to custom. And here's where you want to put your target cost per action. So our first target cost per action will be 8. So just insert a number here, and now you scroll to the top and you just change your ad group name, and I will call it TCPA 8, right? And scaling best interest. Okay, here you go. Now I'm about to duplicate this ad group, right? And here you go, duplicate it once, and now I'm about to call it TCPA 9, right? And you scroll down, change the TCPA value to 9. Once again, you duplicate it, boom. Now it will be TCPA 10, right? So it's pretty simple. TCPA 10, boom. And then once again, TCPA 11. So remember, you need 5 of those, okay? Quite important. And you will see that basically some of them will not spend at all, right? Because the TCPA will be too low. So Pinterest will not be able to find an audience which will give you some conversion for this amount, all right? Okay, so we can actually guess that, 8 might not spend, but 9 might spend, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to pay 9, for instance, for every single conversion you will get, but it's just that as you can afford to take more risk, it will spend more on these ad sets, if that makes sense. And here you go. Then you can actually examine everything and publish. And now you might ask, well, how to scale it? So it's pretty simple, because Pinterest ad, if you want to scale your campaigns, it's quite easy because you only have to raise the budget. That's it. It's very consistent. It's not as Facebook ads, while you would have to do like multiple change. It's pretty easy. So basically what you want to do is you just want to duplicate your best performing TCPA ad set. Let's say it's this one. You want to duplicate it in a new campaign, okay? And you want to put a higher budget. Let's say, for instance, €250 per day, and then you want to increase the budget by 20% every day. Now, again, as with every platform, it might dry out at some point. That's why you should always invest 20% of your budget in testing. So 10% in testing creative and 10% in testing interest. So now, how do you test creative? The structure to test creative is pretty simple. You just want to create a campaign, as we did, with your best performing interest, okay? And you want to duplicate the ad set 3 times, and you just want to have like 1 creative per ad set. So basically, it will look like this. Let me show you. So you will have your campaign, so testing creatives, right? And here you go, you select the same settings. So always the next day, midnight, right? Here you go, and you will have the first ad group, okay, which will be, right, stacked interest 1, right? And you will have your ad number 1 here, okay? So ad number 1, ad 1, boom, duplicate, right? Stacked interest 2, so stacked interest 12, sorry, ad 2. Okay, so you just have to change the ad. Everything stays the same. You just have to change the ad. That's it. And then ad number 3, if that makes sense. Okay. So pretty simple. And then based on the best performing interest and actually the best performing creative. Okay. So the creative with the highest CTR, you want to make some decisions, and then you just rinse and repeat. So now let's say I found my best performing creative. You have it. Boom. You can just actually take it and expose it to the same audience you used to leverage for your first scaling campaign. Now, 10% should also go in testing more interest. So how do you test interest? It's actually the same thing. This time, you just want to revert things. So you want to create a campaign with your best performing creatives, right? So not your best performing interest, your best performing creative. So the one with the highest CTR. And you want to create 3 ad sets, okay? You will keep the same creative across every single ad set, and you just want to change the interest, if that makes sense, okay? Right? So that's it. And once you have the best performing interest, you can actually combine this with your best performing creative and go back to the step number 1 and scale it. So it's pretty straightforward with Pinterest ad, and that's how we are actually able to achieve some really good results with this strategy. So now the last step is actually how to create some retargeting campaigns and how to create some lookalike campaigns. So first thing first, the first thing you want to do is you just want to make sure that you can create some lookalike campaigns. And here you go, you just have to click in ads, audiences here. And as you can see, boom, you can, as we created the audience, okay, we can actually select the custom audience to create some lookalikes. And as you can see, we have more than 1,000 people in every audience here that we're about to use. And that's how we're going to create some lookalikes. So for instance, if I want to create a lookalike based on everyone, for instance, visiting my website, let's say, okay, I can actually take my pixel here. I have like 68,000 events on my pixel. Okay, now we just create an audience here, create what we call an act-alike. So basically it's a lookalike. And that's it. You can actually create your audience. And then that's also, as you can see, it's quite important to make sure that you have enough data in your custom audience that you created previously. You want to make sure that you have at least 1,000 events here. Okay. Now let's go back in ads and let's create an ad. I will show you how to create a lookalike ad, basically how to select this audience. So it's actually the same thing. And whenever you want to try some lookalikes, you can actually just click here on choose yours, right? And here you go. You can create an audience list. Once you click on create an audience list, you can just click here on act alike and you'll be able to select your lookalike audience. Okay. So depending on your product, lookalike might work or not. Sometimes, I mean, most of the time it works, but if it doesn't, just focus on scaling with interest and keywords. However, retargeting audience are quite important and you want to make sure that you leverage these as soon as possible. Okay, so to set up like your retargeting campaign, it's pretty simple. You just have to create a new campaign. So now I'm about to show you how you can actually set up some retargeting campaigns as well. So you just want to go here under ads, create an ad. And here you just want to create a conversion campaign. You want to call it CBO retargeting, okay? And as always, you want to make sure that you start your campaign on the next day at midnight. Regarding the budget here, the good thing is that you don't need a lot of budget for retargeting campaigns. You can start with anything between 10 to 15 per day because your audience size will be quite limited at the beginning and then you can actually scale it. So instead of actually picking reconnect with your audience here, I recommend you to click here on choose your targeting and you can actually use some existing list here. For instance, you can use any kind of act-alike list here, okay? So those are lookalikes and I can actually select them here. So as you can see, all the lookalikes here, boom, I can select them, right? And include them in my targeting. And I can combine this with my client list. And also I can combine this with people who have been engaged with my pins, which is quite powerful. And also with my website visitors, which is also very powerful. So I recommend you to stack everything here to make sure that your audience size is big enough. And then what you want to do is you just want to make sure that under the demographic tab, so here you just want to make sure that you select the countries that are quite relevant to you because sometimes you can get a lot of traffic bot coming from Pinterest and you want to avoid this, okay? And then basically here, as you already have some data, you can go ahead with TCPA once again. So you can just set up like a high TCPA, the highest value. However, if you don't have at least 50 purchases coming from Pinterest, you can just stay in automatic bidding for now, okay? And then that's it. You just want to publish your campaign and you're done.